Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Palm Springs Psychic Medium with Timothy Courtney. I'm your co-host, Daniel Slocky, and Timothy and I are wishing you a very safe and happy holiday season in 2020. But before the end of the year, we have a special guest lined up for you. Her name is Diana Wentworth. She's a co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, the cookbook, and Chicken Soup to Inspire the Body and Soul. She's also written another book called Send Me Someone. So let's take a peek into our interview with Diana Wentworth.
That doesn't happen often. It's like you always meet pleasant people, but there's some people you just know that we have a connection here. There's something and we need to keep this going. And one of my favorite things, as you know, Diana, is at her house. I haven't been to your house since probably January.
Right.
All this stuff, which seems forever. One of my favorite places in Diana's house. I walked in, of course, I'm checking out energy, of course, anywhere you're going, I'm going. But she has this kitchen that is like, I all I can say is it just warms me and makes my soul and my spirit feel so good, right? I always want to go to the kitchen. And we have there's a little table by the window, and we always have tea there, and her and Ted and I will talk, and she always has something special, sweet for me. And I love that.
Fudge sometimes, yes. I make my divine fudge and I stir blessings into it as I cook it.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. That's probably why I like that kitchen, the energy so much. You're stirring so much love in there.
Blessings in every bite.
I thought last time I was there, I wanted mashed potatoes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I've even got some of those right now left over.
I read that in your book. I was reading one of the recipes about mashed potatoes being and I'm like, oh my God, I could think of that. I want mashed potatoes. So tell us about a little bit on a couple of things. Speaking of the food, about the TV show that you were a host for a few years.
Yeah, my late husband, Paul von Wellnitz, and I had a long career in cooking and entertaining. And we wrote 6 cookbooks, one of which, the first one won Cookbook of the Year. We had a school on Sunset Boulevard called the Von Wellnitz Cooking Workshop, and Wolfgang Puck and all the famous chefs of the day would teach there. And then we went with Robinson's Department Stores and traveled all over the world, really, as cooks, and then ended up having a very, very early celebrity kind of chef kind of show called The New Way Gourmet, which ran for 3 years on Lifetime. And then we left the food world because we went on a trip of citizen diplomats into the Soviet Union in 1985. We were with Dennis Weaver and Mike Farrell and the real Patch Adams and all sorts of amazing activists in the world. And we went there to make a documentary of American citizens having a dialogue with Soviet citizens because our countries weren't speaking to each other. But what happened was that Paul and I had this sudden realization that what we loved about what we had been doing was putting people together, because we noticed that in this group of people who were traveling together, they started sharing resources and people that they knew and connecting each other to ways that they could get their word out. And it was so magical that we came back and started the Inside Edge, which is celebrating its 35th year, but it's had weekly, we've had 1,500 speakers, everybody that you've ever heard of. And we're a community of people who are kind of like, it's a crossroads of consciousness. And it was much more fulfilling than our food career, to tell you the truth.
Yes. Oh my God, I love hearing that. It's like when you said Patch, the original Patch Adams, I'm like, right there, that caught me for sure. It's like, I love the movie. I think that, that's why I said one of those things you just said, connectivity and people in some light consciousness. And that's one of the reasons we attracted too, I know. Along with the TV show, it's like, you've got your books. So let's tell us a little bit about, if you can give us just a little bit of a general of the books, but I would like for you to walk us into Send Me Someone. And those questions, everybody's dying to know about how you met Ted. So take it from there.
Okay. Well, as I said, we had all these books about food and entertaining, especially. But when we started the Inside Edge, we really left the food world. Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen connected at the Inside Edge, decided to write Chicken Soup for the Soul, which they would work on after the meetings there. And, you know, it was turned down by 140 publishers. And anyway, they got to the top of the New York Times list, and their publisher said, well, you have to do the Chicken Soup for the Soul cookbook because everybody thinks it's a cookbook. And they kept saying, we can't do a cookbook. We don't know how to cook. And they finally realized that I was a resource for them. So I got to be the first co-author in the series, which was so incredible. And I asked for an advance, and the publisher said, no, we don't give advances. But you can have a third of the book, which I thought, oh my God, that was the deal of the century because they were already, you know, the best selling. Yeah. So that was the most money I ever made. And it was incredible. It was incredible.
Talking about being connected and being in the right place, you know, being the resources that you needed to be at the time you needed to be at.
I know. And then I got to do another book for them. And then 4 years into The Inside Edge, my husband, Paul, was diagnosed with terminal cancer and passed away after 4 months. But before he passed, he said, I don't want you to be alone. And I said, then send me someone. I don't know, that just leaped out of my mouth. And he said, I will. And I knew that he always had this sense that after he was gone, he would be able to time travel and move everywhere and everything else. Well, I could feel his presence so much that I could journal with him, and he would tell me to do certain things. And sure enough, 2 months later, Ted Wentworth walked into The Inside Edge, which was very convenient. And the first thing he ever said, this is so strange. I had said something about enjoying my solitude, and that the first man who looked at me with the idea of a live-in relationship could become the victim of an axe murder. And Ted was in the audience for the first time. First thing he ever said to me, walked up to me and he said, will you live with me? I raised my hand like I had an axe, and we were married 6 months later.
That's amazing.
I know.
That's amazing.
There's so many things like that I can't.
Right.
Asking you to receive on that, I mean, my goodness.
I'm not crazy.
I'm going to touch on that because I love how we go into places and we're always looking to help someone else's life improve, or shining a little light into a spot. And in that place there where you just got through saying in front of a whole crowd that, pretty much not going to happen, got the axe up, and then someone comes and says, I want to live with you, and they're interested in you, what was it that, knowing in that moment from what you just got through saying, that what was the switch? What was it that opened that space to even be open to Ted?
Well, I was on your show last time. I told this story about Elvis Presley. Do you want me to tell that? Because
Go ahead. Yes.
That's really the thing that convinced me that there was a way of knowing certain things in advance. I was at UCLA in a sorority, and I asked the girls on the pledge porch, I said, can you turn that music down? And somebody said, oh, Diana just doesn't like Elvis Presley. And I had this sudden knowing, and I said, actually, I do like him, and I'm going to date him someday. And I couldn't believe I said that. It was like, oh my God, what in the world was that about? And 2 months later, my mother took me on a tour of Europe. We stopped in Paris at the Prince de Galles Hotel. And I was walking into the hotel, and one of the kids on the tour came running up to me and said, Diana, Elvis Presley's in the dining room. And I'm too scared to ask for his autograph. Will you come with me? So I just walked right up to him. The dining room was closed. He was standing there with a couple of his bodyguards. And I said, oh, hi, I'm Diana Webb from Beverly Hills. And my friend would like your autograph. And then we just started chatting. And long story short, he invited me to go with him to the Lido that night, which was the big nightclub. And I think he just needed somebody on his arm, because he couldn't walk in with, and he had these bodyguards around him, and crowds were just swarming around. But it was just, how did that happen? How did that happen? And of course, my friends couldn't believe that it was true. So I actually knew him over a period of 4 years and got to see him a bunch of times and went to his house and everything. But I actually took some of my sorority sisters to his birthday party because I didn't believe I really knew him.
You were popular, very popular then. If that,
I was
that one would be your
thinking
friend.
that.
I love that. That you know, that's such an incredible story, and how that things, and I, you know, that just kind of like sets you up, knowing you, the one person I know. It's like one of those things that just you gave into that. I want to say gift, you know, that was there for you. That you gave into it. You didn't fight it. You didn't struggle with it or put yourself in that place of not accepting, you know, or and it's like I love that because it's that thing we talk about here, you know, you can do this or you can keep free, you can leave that open.
Yeah.
And that's when the magic things happen. And I don't think there's anything about being special in that. It's about just allowing that. You know,
I
you
so
didn't,
agree. And I think that you can get so you expect magic so that you're receptive and you're welcome, welcome it whenever it shows up. And every day now
absolutely.
something shows up very magically.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. It's like we talked about that recently. You're either subduing, you know, you're squashing your spirit, or you're supporting your spirit, or you're letting the spirit soar. And that's the three places I run from, that I teach too. It's like with that is, and it's the SSS, you know, squash, support, or soar. And I love that because it's like that's what happens when we don't poo-poo it.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
support ourselves, and then we're like, okay, let's open the door, let's fly, you know. And it's, you just did that so perfectly and explained that, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And I love Ted, by the way. Say I know Ted. I did not know Paul, but I know Ted, and Ted's just a wonderful man.
Ted is wonderful. He wrote a book called The Enlightenment Code, and he is just this gorgeous, enlightened being who's sitting over there. You can't see him, but
Hi, Ted.
he's the cutest person, cutest man on the planet. Come here, come here, come here.
I'm just sitting back there remembering old times.
Wait.
Hi, Ted.
Hold the camera on, you can't see him. I've got the background on, so he's floating on a.
That's okay.
That's the way
We
it
like
works.
that.
He's the cutest.
I love that. So I wanted to know, give us, let's say a couple minutes here, on 2 or 3 minutes, and let's talk about where you are today. You've done, you know, you have this huge past. You've done some lifetimes here, so to speak. But it's like you've done some lifetimes. It's like, who do you see yourself as now, today? How do you see yourself, and where is it that where your purpose, what you see is, because I know you have one. So it's like, you know, where you're going now and what you know you're here to give.
Oh, that's wonderful. I feel so juicy. I'll be 80 on my next birthday. I think it's important to know that because I still feel so alive. I've always loved public speaking, and I've always had to travel. And I'm always speaking about expecting magic, or life as a work of art, or teaching people, especially at writers' conferences, how to write their memoir, how to write chicken soup for the soul stories about their own life and their own families and so on. So for future generations. So I love doing that. But now on Zoom, I can do this so much easier. I'm kind of a mentor for people's memoirs. And I just love speaking. I love being given a new subject that I haven't even spoken on before. I also love memorizing. After I had a heart attack in 2009, I had to do a lot of walking, so I would memorize mystical poetry. And while I was walking, you know, in the rhythm of the words and everything, would just go into my heart and soul. And so, you know, I'm just always reading new books about consciousness and presence especially. And I found lockdown to be so valuable because it's so purifying. You really let go of all the frivolity and the things that have no meaning. And you find yourself at home in your own heart, you know, and that is the most interesting thing to me right now, is this sort of passionate presence that I'm accessing.
I love that. And I totally understand that. You know, it's like I've heard so many about this is the worst year. And I have not, I know you don't, I do not see it that way. It's definitely not been my experience. I'll put it that way. You know, I got right in the way with what we can't do. Here's what it is. Okay. It's like, and just gave into that. I didn't have to fight. you know, I didn't have to. So it's like, it went into, well, what can we do? And I'm with you. It's like, you know, and I know many other people out there did as well. We've discovered more about ourselves, about our life, about our presence, you know, and maybe what we want to be up to, or who we are, or, you know, took some looks at I don't like that part so much. How about we adjust that? Or, wow, there's some stuff here that I hadn't seen before, that just made life better. So to me, I felt like it was one of my best spiritual journeys this year.
Me too. I really, it's just purifying, you know? I mean,
Purifying.
It filters out all of the dross, and I'm excited about it. It feels like there's just some new juicy impetus every day to be exploring something that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what do you say to somebody that may not be feeling that way, that may not be open to, you know, that is here, you know, and they're experiencing lockdown and they're just kind of shut down. They're kind of in this. How do you tell them to, you know, take this and spin it into a positive way? You know, what do you say to somebody like that?
Exploring every tool you can think of to move your thoughts into feelings that are good. So you can learn tapping, which I think is a wonderful thing for changing your whole thought process. Reading wonderful things, and anytime, you know, there's a book called, let me see. Oh, well, anyway, complaining is not working. What is the name of the book about complaining? But I remember that Paul said to me early on in our marriage, because I used to complain and kind of be in a bad mood or something. And he said, Diana, never complain. It doesn't do any good, and it makes everyone around you feel awful. And that went through my heart like an arrow.
Wow.
And I realized that even complaining inside of my own mind is attracting exactly more of whatever that is, you know. So it's that law of attraction thing is fantastic in every form of focusing on beauty and joy, and using joy as your compass, and just not entertaining any thoughts that are spiraling down. I know it sounds, you know, it sounds blasé, but it's not easy, but it really is simple.
Simple. Oh my gosh, I say that all the time. It's so simple. It's you know, I do that whole thing of take care of your spirit, you know, first. So it's like in that place of what can you do, loving, caring, and thoughtful. Right now, and it might just be breathing because you're holding your stomach, clenching that, you know, stomach or something, or you need a drink and your mouth's dry. But just those little tiny things are what make all the big things come up in the future. Because we're deciding that future in all those thoughts and all those ways that we're either going to let squash our spirit or support it, you know. And I love that because it's simple. It's just, you got to do it. And we want to get online and buy something, change the furniture, you know, go do this, something that's out there. I'm going to do something out there. And we want to be busy. You know I can get into that. And I have to remind myself, let's come back. What can I do right now? And it changes my day in a second.
In a second.
For the better, everything.
Exactly. Yeah, and also, I also remind myself, since it's all about presence, is that if I get hooked by a thought of a regret or guilt or anything, especially in the night, I say to myself, Diana, that doesn't exist in the now. It doesn't. That simply does not exist. So don't go there. You know?
Right, exactly. Oh my God. I have my little thing to go to sleep at night when that wants to go, something takes off. And I'm like, I just, and I know it's a negative, but it works for me in my sleep because I'm trying to sleep. But I say no. And I may say no 50 times in a row there, because every time something wants to come in, no, go away. You know, I just say no. And by then I go to sleep.
Yep.
You know,
I say cancel, yeah.
So it's like there is a few things I want to just, you know, something I'm picking up on, and I just want to throw this out there is you have another book you're working on.
Well, I've been working on a book called Expect Magic for a couple of years.
Okay, because I'm sensing that in the making here, that feels like it's really good. I feel like you feel like this is one of your best.
Oh, good.
And it's like, I also want to know, do you have you have a trip coming or something that you got planned? Because I keep seeing like the beach, it's like, and this feels like tropical, something that feels warming. I think it has to do with work though.
Well, Ted and I, we haven't had an opportunity to travel. We used to take these road trips. We called them the road trip to surrender because we wouldn't know where we were going even when we left the house. We just head in any direction that felt right. But
I
haven't
like
been
that.
able to travel. But now I showed him a cruise the other day, but it's not till 2022.
Mhm.
But it would be just the most amazing cruise. So I have a picture of that hanging up, and
Oh, I love it. Where's the cruise?
it goes all through Ephesus and the Mediterranean and the Holy Land and all of that, places that I
Beautiful.
haven't been yet.
Great. I love it. Sounds good. Well, that would make sense. It's like, I'm just like, okay, I see something happening here coming up in that future.
Oh,
That looks good, but I feel like, it happens. That's what I would say.
oh, good.
So
Well,
I
I'm
would just go
excited
ahead and
about
count
that.
on that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I
I
see you.
also,
Oh, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
no, I also going to say, I also see you, and I want to encourage you to go through with this, is I see you taking me and Daniel with you.
That's a
I've,
great,
I've
great
often
vision there.
I've often lectured on cruise ships, so you never know what might happen.
Absolutely. And I think that would absolutely be possible. As I know we both do that.
Okay,
So
let's
we're going to do, what did you say?
let's focus on it. Let's picture that.
Absolutely. I'm all for that.
Okay.
Absolutely. There is, we're going to run into a little bit here. It's like, and I want to do a little something fun. They'll play a little word game. You just give me a word or two of what it is, an answer to these questions. Okay. That I'm going to throw out to you. So tell us, everyone, what's your favorite book?
Are you asking me to? Oh, okay.
What's
My
your
favorite
favorite
book,
book?
Passionate Presence
Passionate Presence.
by Catherine Ingram.
I love that. How could someone get in contact with you if they wanted to?
Diana at dianawentworth.com. They can just go to
Okay,
the website and contact me there.
great. What is the best thing that you like to cook on a cozy winter day?
Mm, I think my favorite comfort food has always been spaghetti. So
Ooh,
I'll make some
yes.
wonderful sauce. Lots of
Okay,
butter.
if I come over, can we have some at that little table? Okay, where's your favorite getaway?
Well, locally, yeah, we're in Palm Springs right now. So we love the drive up to Idlewild, which is
Mhm.
only about an hour away, but it's up at
Yes.
5,000 or 6,000 feet. And it's the tiny little Christmassy town, and right
Yeah.
now it has some snow. So locally, that would be the favorite getaway.
Yes, I was up there not too long ago myself. So do you think Daniel is handsome?
I do. I think he's very nice.
I know he's got to be laughing on
Shameless, shameless, Tim, shameless, but I like it.
I had to do that. I had to do that for him. It's like, oh, will you write another book was going to be the question, but then I picked up while you were talking, like, oh, she's got one already going. What motivates you?
Um, I've been running the Inside Edge in off and on for 35 years and booking all the speakers. And so I get to choose any speaker in the world that I think would be fun to know or talk to and talk them into coming on the Inside Edge on Zoom now, because we did that this
Yes.
year. So I'm very motivated to just reach out and get to know as many people as I can on Zoom, have clients and, just connect, because I don't know, like that, I just thrive on that.
Yeah, you're an energy person. So it's like, and you can, and with that connection, it's all about that energy. It's like, and so I can definitely see that being there. What's a great motivator? So let's go to the other side of that a bit. And what inspires you? Or it could be who?
Meditation. That's one thing that has just transformed completely during this time. And I love going into the silence. And into the silence sometimes comes the most interesting new information, or it's just a state of bliss, or it's some kind of an adventure, you know. I think it's my most valuable time. And of course, I love any mystical poetry. I love the words of Hafez and Rumi, and I get very excited about that.
I love hearing that. I love that. It's great to know what that is. You have a go-to, you know. I don't think everybody even knows what it is sometimes. It's great. I love that. If it's, you know, it's a challenging day. I know Daniel touched into this, but when you have a challenging day and something hits you suddenly, you know, and it could be a phone call of someone who's been really ill, or be your own news sometimes. When you hit a challenging moment like that, what's one of the first things that you like to do that lifts your spirit, or supports you, maybe is a better way, at those moments? What do you do to support yourself to move forward and not to go down?
Well, my answer is different today than it would have been yesterday. I am certified to teach yoga, and especially restorative yoga, which is very heartfelt, long, comfortable yoga. And I just decided recently that I needed to fall in love with it again. So I put on some of the class music that I've taught today, and I was very overloaded this morning with all sorts of things happening. And so I noticed that after about 20 minutes of going into yoga and just becoming really flexible, you know, I'm not straining. I'm not trying to do any show off poses or anything. I noticed that my mind got quiet again, and it brought me just back into a heart-centered place. And speaking of which, you know, I have a free book on my website, dianawentworth.com. I wrote a book for the American Heart Association called Love Your Heart, Follow the Red Thread to a Heart-Centered Life. And people can just download it for free there. And it has wonderful poetry and all sorts of things in it.
That sounds rich. I love that. That's why I heard that. I say, that sounds rich. Just like, and, you know, right into the heart. I say, I love the title, love what it's about. That's very, very, very good. There is, I just want to say, you know, as we wrap this up, I say just that, first of all, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, I so love being here.
Yeah, and you share from your heart, and I love that, from experiences, and, you know, like I said, you've done lifetimes of work and experiences, you know, that some people would never get to, you know, and I love that, and I enjoy your friendship. I enjoy your generosity, and the love that you keep giving, Thank
you so much. Well, you're just such a warm and talented and wonderful human being. I feel so privileged to know you, and I'm just very grateful.
Thank you. It's like, I'm glad that we are friends as well. You know, if you guys had never stepped in the door, we would maybe have met. It was just right timing. So when this is all over, I'll be seeing you at the house for some tea. And potatoes. Who goes to someone's house just to have mashed potatoes? Right? I love it. Thank you, Diana.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Have a happy holiday.
It was great. Thank you.
Oh, such a gem. Oh my goodness. Just the stories too. I mean, I'm gonna have to tag along to your when we can finally meet around and just chat and have tea and talk, because I mean, there's so many questions even that I have too. You know.
Yes.
Oh, I think you're on mute though.
Oh, yep.
You're on mute, Diana.
Jump in.
Okay. Yeah, I came back because you were talking to me, and I didn't want to miss the party.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah. No, I just said I'm gonna have to tag along with Timothy when he goes to your house and for mashed potatoes and tea.
Absolutely. I'll set a table for 4.
That's great. I absolutely love it. Well, you have a safe and wonderful holiday season too, and definitely just be safe out there.
Yes. You too. Thank you so much.
So we've had a wonderful show, as you can see. It's like, and this is it's our last show. It's like for the season.
For the season, yep.
Yeah. So we have had a great time with everyone. We're so happy that you all have supported us and joined in and jumped in and participated. And as you know, you can always go to YouTube at the Palm Springs Psychic Medium and see the shows there. There'll be some kind of different variation as we go into the new year and things. And I'm actually going to be thinking of doing some little like 15-minute videos myself, and maybe actually doing a reading that I actually share with you live. I haven't put all that together, but I have some things a little bit coming in the future that may be a little different. And also, it looks like we probably will do the workshop. We just couldn't do it in January, but we may be doing it in February. I'm trying to work out some dates. Got a few other things happening right now. And Daniel, thanks for everything this year. You've been fantastic. I love you. I think you're absolutely outstanding as a person. I just think you're a wonderful, wonderful man.
I try to be that. I think my parents are watching here, and I hope they hear that for me right then. I'm just kidding. No, it's a lot easier to be happy, I think, too. So
I agree.
And you make that very easy. And just I love just being able to learn from you too, because it's simple things too. Like we talked about too with Diana, it's simple things that just make an impact that, if you just kind of open just even a little bit, to get it going, open your eyes just a little bit, open your spirit just a little bit. It takes it such a long way.
It does. We talk about, people come to me so many times that, we're all looking for a better future. I don't know too many people looking for a bad one. We don't always know how to get there, what's going, but it's those things of doing something, these nice things, these good things, loving things that will take you to a good future. It's when we don't want to do it and we don't feel like doing it. Well, then you're going to get just exactly where you're moving toward. There is one thing she said that I love, and it's the same thing I say. It's like, remember, it's like when people say, what do you do when something happens? And the first thing is to stop, because this wants to take over and run with it, come up with the worst scenarios or whatever it is that's worrying or whatever stress. So it's like, and I heard that same with her. She says, it's all about, got to stop this. So, what's our ways? And it's different for everybody what works best, but we better know it, because we got a lifetime here. The sooner you get it and the sooner you can practice with that, the better off we're going to be. And everybody else around you will be better off.
Yeah. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for everyone around you.
There you go. Right. I love that. Well, listen, it's like we're on a wrap, and thank you so much. I want to say thank you. We want to both thank you, everyone, and wish you a wonderful holiday this season. Make it bright. Forget about all this other stuff that's happening. It doesn't matter. It's like it's still our time. It's still our life. We're still participating in it as long as we're alive. Let's make it bright. That's however it is. Let's just make it bright. What do you say?
New challenge for the year. I like it.
Yeah.
Make it bright.
So we'll see everybody. Take care. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we'll see you in the next year somehow, some way.